To be sovereign over oneself is to be free of the control or coercion of others. To truly have the freedom to direct one's own life requires an accurate assessment of conditions, which affords the right to apply informed consent to our individual decision-making. We extend that belief to include freedom of self-determination in the direction of one's consciousness, which connects with the soul, spirit, and the higher avatar intelligence, the spiritual bodies which form into the powerful forces of protection that form the spiritual immune system. Self-sovereignty is inherently a human right given through God's source and the universal laws, expressed through the Law of One, which describe these laws that direct the complex quantum mechanics governing the movement of consciousness throughout time and space. Ascension is a simultaneous increase of expanded consciousness that occurs when our spiritual energetic bodies connect into our physical bodies, and thus when these higher consciousness bodies come online, they activate and amplify our spiritual immune system. Our spiritual immune system requires personal attention, discernment of forces, and proper nourishment in order to function well. It is the same as our physical immune system that requires nutrients and sustenance to be effective at deflecting and neutralizing negative pathogenic forces. During the current psychological operation used for spiritual warfare against the human population, the goal of the controllers is to destroy access to spiritual knowledge or truthful information that pertains to the possibility of self-ownership that comes with activation of the higher spiritual bodies. This month is an especially concentrated phase of reclaiming monadic families, intergalactic transmissions of universal monadic plane frequency waves, and embodying the Mother's staff codes in the Sophianic template. This is highly activating to those awakening now to see the mass deceptions we have been fed in the mainstream, as well as to those embodying the Ascension template that are able to conduct and integrate these higher coded vertical lines and rod and staff frequencies. Essentially, our consciousness bodies and spiritual immune system are under targeted attack, as when our spirit is weakened and we are dehumanized, the conditioned masses submit without resistance to the blind obedience of the controller's orchestrated plan for installing a global government for enforcing fascist tyranny. Humanity is in a critical time of choosing the way we will evolve forward on the timelines at a global level. The majority are unaware that all human beings have a spiritual immune system, as well as a biological immune system, and that these are interdependent systems that function together to protect our living body and consciousness from foreign invaders and negative forces. Our sense of spirituality and how we perceive our relationship to our higher power is directly related to our immune system functioning and its effect upon our health and well-being. The development of our spiritual immune system enhances our ability to cope with stress, resulting in better health practices, with greater overall contentment with the quality of life we experience. Our health and sanity are connected to educating ourselves about our biological and spiritual immune systems, not about the mass injection of mandated vaccines enforced by those ultimately serving the tyrannical forces of the negative alien agenda. When we activate and connect with our heart presence and inner spirit, exploring what is truly meaningful in our lives, this conscious participation with divinity also greatly protects human beings from the harmful onslaught of dark forces. Whether these forces are seen or unseen, known or unknown, the loving and pure heart that has the faith or direct experience that connects to divinity without intermediary is what protects us. This activates and powers up our inner spiritual immune system, repelling the darkest fears and anxieties that cloud our minds with deceptions and lies that are being spread by the controllers to attempt to force submission and consent to their enslavement agendas. When we are spiritually stronger, we can sense the harmful intent and refuse to submit to immoral laws being put in place by tyrants. During this time of the dark night of the soul which is leading humanity to a global awakening, this is a great opportunity to deeply inquire within and reclaim our inherent divinity. Expanding our consciousness to reflect upon the interconnection of all of humanity undergoing this tribulation, being aware that we must overcome our fears of survival and perceptions of death to decide what kind of world we want to live in. What kind of quality of life and freedoms do we want for our children and grandchildren? We must clearly see the issues that humanity is facing as we move forward, and then reflect upon our personal divine puzzle piece to unite with others and help this world become a better place. To activate our spiritual immune system and to deflect rampant parasitic energies, knowledge that human beings are multidimensional electromagnetic spiritual beings with a light body that explicitly belongs to them, and is enforced in natural laws, is critical information at this time. Everything that is inside our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual body belongs to us in natural law, and there is strong spiritual power activated in where we consciously place our consent or the lack thereof. Discern energetic exposures. To begin to connect with and activate our innate spiritual immune system, the first step is comprehending everything is conscious energy and intelligent, and nothing that happens is random. As an example, the genetically labbed AI hybrid viral organism has been programmed with a dark intelligence signature that will be attracted to like vibrations of other soft kill methods used as silent weapons, such as AI signals, silent sound technology, smart dust, and nanotech created with intent to harm. As a result, it can be used as a carrier wave for combining the effects of an assortment of seen and unseen poisons, even used as a carrier for demonic possession to lodge in the lung cavity and astral heart center of the human energy field. The organism was designed to interconnect with several layers of control infrastructures, for the greater purpose of harvesting astral soul energy for the parasites and vampires, as well as to serve the agenda for manifesting the one world order timeline set into motion by the Black Suns. This cabal group completely owns and directs the anti-human agendas behind the genetic modifications used to destroy organic human DNA and the enforced policies of the World Health Organization, as well as in its tentacles extending into the biotechnology, pharmaceutical, and vaccine industry. Consciousness is spiritual energy which is governed by a personal blueprint and energy signature. Our personal blueprint is our divine plan and will have unique preferences that will inform us through our personal resonances, when exposed to a variety of stimulating forces that influence the consequences we will have when interacting with any of these energetic forces. The energetic exposures will inform our body if it's positive or negative for supporting our spiritual purpose at the point when we interact with them. Thus, the interaction may generate the rapid loss of life force energy, or it can increase life force circulation that can be further multiplied into greater use of that energy yield, such as through expressed creativity or cellular knowing. To regain our health and sanity, we must discern these energetic exposures and the consequences to our personal energy and physical body, and make regular assessments to monitor our state of health and well-being. When we discern these differences and then make an effort to only commune with those things that help us to increase energy flow and harmony in our lifestyle, this fortifies our spiritual immune system. Each individual on the path of spiritual development will need to discern between these forces of closed-source parasitic entropy or open-source negentropy, and make a committed decision to move towards spiritual purpose and those things that multiply and circulate an abundance of life force energy. The abundant life force energy can be followed through personal resonance of the loving heart-based messages of the Spirit, that will guide us to increase our consciousness energy, which also reflects in the personal health, coherence, and well-being of that individual. When we begin to perceive ourselves as expressions of consciousness, eternal spiritual beings that hold the potential of unlocking the unlimited reality of our true nature, we begin to reclaim our personal power and transform ourselves to express our real divine purpose, which changes our lives and the world. The foundation of healing is ascension. True and authentic healing is a function of our consciousness body, and it is through the realignment of our spiritual consciousness that effective healing of our body can take place. The functions of human spiritual ascension and evolution are directly entwined with the process of natural healing and personal well-being. Therefore, if we create the conditions in our lives that are organic to us and spiritually healthy for growing our light body and consciousness, we will naturally evolve and heal all of our multidimensional bodies. Thus, our biological and spiritual immune system will be much stronger and healthier in order to do its job. The organic human genetic code is based on the 12-tree grid manifestation body. Thus, when we align to the knowledge of our original genetic code imprinted on the human biology, we gain access to our consciousness that holds the intelligence of all of our stations of identity in time that can be accessed from our local incarnation. When we learn to follow our heart, the center of our soul and spiritual expression, we achieve balance, harmony and integration with all aspects of ourselves, and live life in order to maximize human spiritual potential, which includes more authenticity, love, connection and joy. When we are strongly rooted in higher purpose and spiritual meaning, we become fully spiritually embodied and actualized in our highest expression and aligned to our ultimate destiny in the ascension timeline. Therefore, contributing our creative genius to support higher expression for the human collective to manifest a better world together on our chaotic but ascending planet. In order to embody the true self and inner core essence, two relationships must be made a priority in order to be forged, developed, and remembered into the eternal light source. The two most important relationships that every human being has the responsibility and right to create for themselves. Number 1, right relationship to self. Number 2, right relationship to God source or universe. If we can feel and experience love, reverence and respect for the divinity that exists inside of ourselves, we will also transmit this same higher love frequency to others around us. We transmit the frequency of love to others in proportion to our ability to hold the frequency of love inside of ourselves. Love is the most essential component in all forms of healing and immunity, whether it is the physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual layers that require healing.